Welcome to the top session 6 research introduction. In this session, we are going to discuss about finding a research problem or tips for the researchers. Here, we are going to discuss major 6 points. First one is inception to conclusion, then various scenarios depending on what kind of researcher and where he is. So, we'll discuss those scenarios. Then we'll discuss features of good problems, then strategies for finding good problems, what are the tools available, those things we will discuss. Then what are the issues during this finding the research problem, those we will discuss. And then at the end we will discuss about research assessment. So these are 6 major points, because any researcher, when he is doing the area in which the researcher is supposed to work, is usually known beforehand. Before entering into it, he knows it, and it is the same as the research area of his or her advisor also, the guide or supervisor. But most of the times, students faced with challenges to find a good suitable problem on which they want to start their work. So skills achieve this is an organized manager keeping future implications in mind are very less. That's why here we are going to discuss some of the tips. The first point is inception to conclusion. So here, from the beginning of to the end of the program, a researcher goes through various steps, and these steps are like, first one is decide the broader area. Just decide on the broad area on which to work, whether it is complex networks or communication, whether you want to work on the electric vehicle section, or you want to work on the microgrid, whether it is AC microgrid, DC microgrid, or you want to work it on drives or battery management system. So these are various broader areas, and then this is the first step. Then second step is choose the subfield within that broader area. For example, battery management in electric vehicle system. So electric vehicle is a broader area, and then subfield is battery management system. Or in control systems or non-linear control system, non-linear control systems are the broader area, and then within that, like sliding mode control or adaptive control, robust control, these are the subfields. So one has to choose the subfield. Then comes the next point, that is find the specific unsolved problem. So this is very important, that whether in that particular subfield, do you find any problem, or do you find any gap still exists which is not solved by previous researchers? So this is the third point, that is finding a specific unsolved problem in that subfield. Say for example, in again we discussed electric vehicle is the broader area, battery management is subfield, and in battery management, the specific unsolved problem is, we can say, health monitoring of battery management system, or efficiency of battery management system, or the one can work on the materials used for the batteries. Or another example was non-linear control is a broader area. Then sliding mode control is subfield. And in sliding mode control, one can go for sliding mode observers or gain calculations, estimations. These are the specific unsolved problems. Then comes the next is propose solutions. That means what? Propose the solutions to solve the problem. It may be required to learn new mathematical tools, programming tools, or some other extra reading we need to do. And again, in this, the solution may involve designing, implementing, and experimenting with various subsystems. So it is not a straightforward. It may require various uh, uh, things to do for the researcher. Then fifth step is write the research articles. So once you have proposed the solutions, then it should be validated, and this one of the way to validate these is uh, through the research community. And for that, the researcher has to write the research in terms of publications, maybe in international conferences, national conferences, or peer-reviewed journals, international journals or national journals. So this is the second last step, that is writing research articles. The last step is present the findings at conferences. So it means whatever findings or novelty you have done, carried out through the research, one has to present it in front of the research community, and that is through international conferences or seminars, symposiums, and or during the uh, vivas of uh, submissions of thesis. So these are the steps. So here, if you see step number 3 to 6, that is finding the unsolved problem, proposing solution, then writing and presenting. So these four steps keeps on repeating till enough work is carried out in that particular subject. So till the time that some problems are there, so these steps keeps continuing. All research students are expected to do the major work in the steps 4, that is proposing the solutions, and then 5 and 6. 5 and 6 you can combine also. So this is about inception to conclusion. Means what are the major steps and how one can enter into the research problem. Now we will discuss various scenarios. That is, again, here we can divide these various scenarios into three categories or three classifications. So it also depends on the university or the research culture of the group that the researcher has joined. He may face various scenarios. For example, uh, sometimes you join a specific project and the problem is already predefined. Means through uh, a research fellow, one can, if one researcher joins, then he need not require to find the problem. It is already defined in that research project. So problem is predefined, and it is the researcher's interest to do enough digging before accepting that offer. And an example is industry sponsored project that has deliverables and deadlines. If you have an opinion of being a part of big project, you can choose that part which interests you most. Say for example, mathematical modeling and analysis, or simulation, or programming, or someone may be interested in circuit design or hardware implementation, prototype design. So problem is already defined, and one has to check whether he is interested in doing particular that project, and among that he can select his area of interest. So this is the first scenario or first case. The second case is the supervisor gives you a problem. Most of the times in universities or in the institutes we see researcher has one advisor or supervisor or a guide or a mentor, and he has already some problems with him, predefined or research problems he has identified, and the advisor directly gives the research problem to the researcher or the student, but it expects that we should find out the solution for that particular problem. So this is another scenario, whether it is that problem is of interest to you or it is not for at all your interest. So this is second scenario. Now the third scenario is the advisor or supervisor asks you to find a problem on which you want to work. So here freedom is given to the researcher. This gives the researcher a very good opportunity to find something that interests that particular researcher, because there is a freedom to find out the research problem. In that case, the researcher may uh, do the literature review, and whatever he has, yeah, some area of interest, he can carry out his research in that particular field, or it is maybe aligned with his career goals or objectives. And since the problem is your brainchild, so you'll be able to motivated, you'll be more motivated to solve such problems and excited to see the results and get the results whatever you want. Also, you lead from the outset, and you can use the necessary literature's review that is completed at future stages. So this is very good uh, scenario that supervisor asks to find the problem to the researcher. So these are the various cases generally found out at all places, universities, institutes, or research organizations, or in the industry also. So this is the second step, that is various scenarios list, and every researcher will or has gone through one of these scenarios. Either he gets or he has got a predefined problem, or he has got the predefined problem from the supervisor, or the supervisor asks him to find out the new research problem. Now, once these scenarios are discussed, we will discuss about what are the features of a good research problem. So, understanding the features of good research problem is very important or very necessary, because this identifies the identifies the good solutions also. So that is the significance. So here we will discuss one by one. So first feature is personal interest. Just now we have discussed that research problems, either you get predefined or it is directly given by the supervisor, or supervisor asks you to find out the problem. Then third one is there is a freedom, and so you can choose the research problem of your own interest. So that point is came here. So first one is personal interest. Does the problem interest the researcher who will work on it? This is the question, that whether problem is of interest to that particular researcher or not. It is of paramount importance, very important, because a disinterested student will lose the motivation to keep going for months when the problem is being solved. It may be possible that if that area of research is of not interesting or disinterest of that particular researcher, then he may lose the motivation of doing the research and he may discontinue in between. So therefore, our own interest is very important. Now, second point is impact on the society. So, does the area to which the problem belongs have an impact on society? For example, integrating renewables into smart grid to reduce the carbon emission, or automatic route guidance to avoid road congestions. So, whether that problem, research problem, is having some impact on the society, or it is of not impacting to the society. Say someone may take the problem of reducing the pollutions, or how one can reduce the air pollution or water pollution. This is, or another one can uh, take the problem of uh, how we can make more efficient solar uh, generation. So these are impacting the society directly into the society. Then next feature is whether it is interesting to industry. So does industry find the problem compelling? So for example, cognitive radio that promises to mitigate the issues caused by limited bandwidth, or a design that cuts down costs. Or another one, say if we have designed a machine which is more efficient and consuming low power, then whether industry is interested to consider your research problem for their further developments. So this is also one important aspect. of good research problem, whether it is of interest of industry. The next one is impact on the research community. Say, yeah, here impact on research community means what type of impact will the resolution of the problem bring. For example, if you have selected some problem, whether it will impact the research community, or research community will think of that problem and further they work on that particular problem to solve further issues, or welcome problems include those that are recognized as difficult by the community. Sometimes it is also possible that some research is not going on in particular subfields because uh, it is assumed that it is very difficult, and you have taken up that problem as a research problem. So one that is solved with fewer modeling assumptions, or a system design that performs significantly better than its previous researchers. So these are all different scenarios, and whether your work is impacting on the research community. So this is also another one feature of the good problem. The fifth feature is timely. That is the problem currently of interest to the research community or society or industry, or will it be of interest in the near future? Whether if you are working on, again, say for example, DC machines or simple induction motors to do the research, whether it is possible that research community or industry is of interest on that particular research for that particular topic, or whether it is useful in the near future. So that is also need to be seen. If an increasing number of papers are being published in a specific field within the last few months or couple of years, then one can say that that is the current area of research. And how we can identify that which currently which topics or which area of research are going on. So for that purpose, we can make use of various tools. For example, we'll directly will see those scenarios. Okay. There is a site called Google Scholar. So you can go to Google Scholar, and here you can type the area. Say for example, PC microgrid, or only microgrid control. So you can see here 2014, 9, 18, all the work that has been published in terms of journals or books is listed here. And if we can customize this range sorting by date, you can see now hybrid AC/DC microgrid control. That is the paper in 2023, 23. Again, here another paper 15 days ago it is published. So 5 days ago, 14 days ago, 15 days ago. So that means one can say a lot of papers, IEEE papers and other elsewhere papers, MDPI papers, these are sustainable energy journal. You can see within 30 days there are almost 10 to 12 papers. And if we can go further, we will see within last 1 or 2 months there are a lot of publications have been done. And one can say that microcontrol is a current area of research, or one of the area of research in today's time. That's why this point is given as timely, whether that area is of interest to the community, industry, or research, or to the society. So this is one of the method, that is research, Google Scholar. You can go for IEEE Explorer also. IEEE Explore. here also you can search on particular area. I'll, I'll type the same keyword microgrid control. You can be specific with these keywords. You can type only DC microgrid, AC microgrid, or battery management system, and so on. Now you can see here in the IEEE Explorer, it will give you total number of publications at various classifications. Like there were 13,134 conferences, 4,000 more than 4,300 journals. Then early access articles. These are recent articles. These are accepted for publication, but yet to be published officially. So these are early access articles. Then magazines, books, and then standards, IEEE standards. So there were a lot of articles one can find out through this IEEE Explorer website also. And here also you can see this is journal IEEE applied for no conference, sorry, and this is from 2015. Now another conference is from 2016. If we want only conferences or journals, you can select out and then apply the filter. Or if you want the newest one, then you can click here sort, click on the newest. And you can see now 2023 IEEE transaction on industry application. So the recent journals come out the top side, newest journals which have been published recently. So it gives us the indication that there is work is going on or the research is going on in this particular field. We try with another keyword, say battery. Here you can see again this is same as per the relevance. If we click on the newest, you will find 2023 paper, dynamic programming for thermal management of automotive fuel cell system investigation acquisition potential. Another conference paper, greenhouse network control system, then journal, magazine. So all kind of research articles, books, magazines, one can find out through this website. Or similarly, so Google Scholar is common. Here you can find out all IEEE, Elsewhere, Springer, MDPI, and all the publisher articles you can find out at one place. If you want to find out individual particular places, you can go for IEEE articles. You come at IEEE Explorer, or you can refer Elsewhere article. Okay. Books are there. All the results it shows. Again, here also we can sort out and find out the recent articles. So these are recent books only, 21, 23. These are books. One can uh, find out the articles, only articles here. Here also you can see alphabetically or like this. So this is another publisher where you can find out the research articles. So the main thing is what topic or the area you have chosen, whether it is of current interest or in the near future interest, then only it is useful. The next feature is aligned to the goal. That means, is the problem relevant to your interest or it is relevant to the field? If your career goal in the mind, that chosen problem should be one that the industry cares about or it is of the requirement of the society, then only it is useful or significant, and it is also useful in getting the job or the career achievements. So whether it is aligned to that or not, so that is also to be taken into consideration. Then the next is it uh, enlarges the skill set, whether the problem taken up requires you to learn some new mathematical or software tools that will be useful in the future, whether it will enhances or enlarges the skill sets of you as a learner, as a lifelong learner. So if you used optimization techniques during the graduation or masters, then in the research you may want to select a problem that will be useful for solving the optimization problems. Or if you are using some simulation tools like MATLAB or IPR, then and to solve that problem you need to add some more features or more add-ons in that MATLAB. Then you should be able to inculcate those add-ins in the MATLAB and then solve your research problem, which enhances your skill sets as a researcher also. So this is also one feature of good problem. And the last one is the bigger picture. The bigger picture. That means, does the problem considered leads to one or two further problems that will allow us to use some of the expertise gained from solving the initial problem. For example, while in the initial stages of the research, we have considered one subfield or specific problem, and during this course of time, whether we have found out one or two more problems which are there and those are not solved, and these can be further area of research for yourself or for some other researchers. So that is also taken into consideration. That is how you are seeing. So it also leads to the development of uh, organization of your dissertation or thesis that keeps you focused in that particular subfield. So these are some uh, 7 to 8 features of good problems, and we have seen a couple of tools also, Google Scholar and IEEE Explorer, to find out the current area of research. Now we will discuss about strategies for finding out good problems. So there is no one fixed strategy, but some of again 8 points are discussed here. So some of the strategies for finding research problems uh, may include. So these are some, but one can go for other ways also. So first one is the hunt for the problem. Hunt problem means it begins very early, and uh, whenever the researchers start familiarizing with the area of interest as soon as possible. It's once the researcher enters into either master's or PhD program, he should start immediately for finding out the research problem. What is my interest and what area I can take up for the research? Or if your advisor or supervisor works in multiple areas, then talk about your interest and his or her expectations, because later at later stage it should not produce any complication. If you are funded by a project that was approved based on the proposal, the project proposal might be available from your advisor or supervisor. As I earlier told that research fellows. So their already research project is finalized. So your advisor, supervisor gives you the direct research problem. It will be provided. It will provide you useful hints for finalizing the problem, and Also, recent papers, articles authored by your supervisor also give an useful uh, way to find out the problem. Now, second one is communicate, discuss with the research community. So this is very important again. Talk to the senior PhD students or master students wherever you are working, or the students uh, or the researchers who have worked on that particular area of subfield earlier, or talk to your postdoctoral candidates and faculty members of that particular field, so that you will learn about opinions of their view on that particular topic, and which areas are currently of more interest to the research community or industry, and what they think about the future of these areas, because it should not happen that if you take up some problem and it is of not interest in the near future, then it is of no use. Also, you can attend the invited talks, seminars, webinars, symposiums, or you can attend the PhD defenses, masters presentations, so that we will be able to find out some hints about the finding out the research problem. So this is very important. This you can consider as a one kind of literature surveillance. Now, third is attending conferences, seminars, symposium, webinar. Just now I told that. Attending along with talking with the seniors and faculty members of that particular field. You can also attend the conferences, workshops also, or training programs, seminars, symposiums, PhD seminars, so that you will have very significant uh, statements, problem statements, because most of the times we have seen that all the thesis or research dissertations ends with their work, proposed work, contributions, conclusions, and there most of the times you will find out the future work scope or future scope for that particular area, and those can be your research areas. Such an opportunity generally not uh, get in small colleges, but in the higher universities or higher institutes, these kind of opportunities arises. Then talking to others face to face about what interests them in their area and problem is inspiring or educationally making informed decisions. So these are ways of finding out a good problem. Now the next one is societal impact problems. So the problems that crop up every now and then in the news that have social impact are worth solving. So for example, every year we see about disasters due to floods or due to earthquakes, and also there are newses that the quality of air is very poor in some cities. So these societal problems uh, comes every now and then in the news. So one can take up the problems from this. Another example is communication network design that is either robust to natural disasters like hurricanes and cyclones. In Western countries, we have seen that hurricanes and cyclones these are normal, and due to these natural disasters, how it affects communication networks and whether we can make those network designs robust so that it will withstand within those hard times. It is maybe worth investing the problems in such areas on such issues, and for that purpose, a field trip may be very important to actually see what are the problems or what are the issues faced by that particular area. Then next is recent white papers from the industries. So this is again very important, and one very good way to find out the research problems. Say research recent white papers from industries areas in which investments are made, and these are often made in public or on the tech news or on the tech articles in the newspapers, and ongoing work in the research lab are published by these industries or organizations on their websites or on the some publications through some researchers. These also reveal the kind of problems in which industry is interested. We'll see again one or two examples of what is white paper and how these are how one can find out. White. So if I find out white paper, white see you can see white papers downloads that is from the ABB group, improving energy efficiency. Here, white papers related to transform chemical operations through technology in China. Transform chemical operations through technology. And if you click on this, we consider one electrical pumps. Okay, innovations to transform the energy. And if you click on the download, sorry, wait, wait. There may be issue that this link is not correctly operating. So you can see long step out system for subsea pump and compressor application, and this is given as white paper. And you can see these are the reports of the paper prepared by the industry person, and you can see some results from their real-time data. And these are also very helpful in finding out some of the research problems. Long step out system. Here the frequency converter, input transformer, step up transformers are connected to the subsea transformers. This is from the ABB. Another one is improving energy efficiency in heavy vehicles through electrification. So see here, improving the energy efficiency in heavy vehicles like trucks or tempos, and they are given it as a sustainable transport. And see, this is the white paper on sustainable transportation. So such heavy vehicles, how one can improve the efficiency. This article talks about this problem, and it is real-time data or real-time statistics generally given by those particular industries. These are very useful for the researchers. This is research, say white paper from ABB. Instead of that, if you select, say, Schneider Electric, or you are from embedded systems, so this is from Schneider, special reports. So some you can see as a white papers, some you can see as a special reports. Industry 4.0, minimizing downtime risk with resilient edge computing. designing electrical systems for future-proof, energy-efficient green building. We'll check whether it is available freely. No, we need to sign in. Okay, this is another from microchip. Timing requirements for distributed system white paper. This is from the embedded system microchip. And they are given for some server they have taken results also there with references. Serial memory technology. So likewise, one can find out research problems through white papers also. So recent white papers from the industries. You can find out if your area is particular battery, and you can find out who are the manufacturer of batteries for EVs, and you can go on their website, find out for the special issues or white paper, or you can search on the Google. Now the next strategy to find out the problem is cope with latest technological developments, and this can be done through the conference articles, journals, and some of the fields in electrical or computer engineering programming are very fast because a lot of technological advancements are being carried out, and it is so fast. Having that latest information is very important for the selection of a problem. If we consider only microcontroller 8051, then it is already done and done in the previous decade. Then one can go for DSPs. Now again in the DSPs, what are the high-end fast processors one can go with? So those all things are very important, and it takes months or two for the conference proceeding to show up in the database also. Generally, a conference occurs suppose in the May of January. If the presentation is done in the January, then the presented paper comes in the online on the IEEE Explorer within 90 days. So most of the times it takes at least 45 to 50 days to come it on the IEEE Explorer portal. So within again 2 months, there are lot of advancements, technological advancements, and therefore one should always keep on doing the literature review through IEEE Explorer or through Google Scholar or any other publishers sites, or even through the journal websites. And generally, we have seen just now early access articles. So one can uh, you will see early access articles here. We apply here. Here, IEEE access. These are early access articles, dynamic programming of thermal management, and this is published or recently accepted, and it is about to publish officially. But these are early access articles, and one can refer such kind of articles so that the researcher will be able to identify his research problem, good research problem. So this is one method, that is finding out the IEEE early access or any early access articles, not only for IEEE, any other journal IEEE early access articles. Or even many research communities are increasingly using preprint archives also. For example, see that also. Generally, uh, some of the journal or the publishers or the journals give an option of publishing or submitting your article in that particular journal, as well as parallelly you can publish it in the ERXIV site. Say whether it is irrespective of acceptance, you can also get the information that who are working on what topics and what they are proposing. It. So it is submitted on 1 May, just few days ago. Right? So this is also very uh, good website to find out the research problem. These archives can be searched for latest information, then what are the advancements or what other researchers are thinking in that particular for the particular selected problem. And here again you can go for advanced search options either in this or in the Google Scholar. I told you how to sort out by the date or by the relevance, or if you want only from since 2023 you can only select that, or here also you can do the advanced searching option, or you can filter out here. So these things one should be able to use so that it will be helpful for finding out research problem, as well as this is very useful when you carry out your literature review. So this is one method. Now the next one is workshops or training programs. One should always try to attend workshops or trainings of your subfield areas so that you will be able to come across some of the talks or some of the points from the resource person which may be helpful for you in finding out the good research problem. And again in that you can narrow down the particular problem to work on it. The community brainstorming before finalizing these calls always make very useful decisions for you. Now after that, the last one is thorough literature survey, that is bird's eye view of area. The satellite workshops in reputable conferences sometimes represent upcoming areas of interest. So these are very high uh, uh, research topics, satellites and rockets and these defense sector points. The previous and current year's web pages can be compared to determine what new things can be added, what new things have been added, or how uh, what kind of conferences are there. These things one can go, and after that the main method is how to do the thorough literature survey of that particular area, and it should always begin with review articles, not always available for newer fields. Say review articles are one where already the carried out work has been reviewed by some other researchers and then it is written in terms of articles, and these are very important when you start your research work. Articles and magazines articles because they are less technical and written for non-experts in magazines. They are useful in getting a bird's eye view of the area and relevant research issues. It always gives us what contributions have been done by the researchers and what are the gaps and how those gaps are tackled by the new researchers and what are the lacunas or limitations of that new researchers. So this process always going on, or this is like a chain process. And if you read these review articles, then you will be able to easily find out the research problem for your research work. And these are in some cases it also helps in identifying the open problems also. So before your exact problems has been finalized, it is often not necessary to concern yourself with every tiny detail of the paper. So at the initial stage, it is not necessary to you should know everything, but as a bird's view or bird's eye view, you should be able to find out overall overview of that particular article. You should be able to understand. The aim is to identify the following problems that the paper is addressing: its novelty with respect to literature before uh, answering the question about how novel problem should be. before it is considered significant. The author's approach to solving the problem, then the mathematical and software tools used, and how the results and conclusions have been made. Also note the likes, dislikes about that presentation and organization of that particular article, paper, thesis, and it may help in preparing our manuscript in near future for us. So these are 8 points, and after gaining these experiences in our field, we will be able to try and guess that what paper is about, then what are the problems, what are the contributions by the author, and what are the solutions proposed, and how those proposed solutions have been verified through simulations, prototypes, article, or through publications, articles, and this always the literature survey is always done with, say, starting by reading the abstracts, introduction, and the conclusion. But it may lead to new directions while exploring our topic without biasing our mind with contents of that paper. For example, the paper might have used heuristics to tackle a problem, but you thought of something better. So these are always possible. And the future work or conclusion section of that particular paper, uh, mostly review articles, provides invaluable hints or significant hints about the open problems or the problems which have not been yet addressed. Or if the paper is totally new or the research area is new and the authors may be pursuing some of them, then make sure that the survey you are conducting is not shallow or narrow, but it should be a perfect literature survey. And generally, this perfect literature survey is not possible because there are a lot of things in each paper, and there are a lot of cross-referencing is there, reference articles are there from one to another, and one has to go through all those linked articles only. So once an interesting problem has been identified, it should be discussed with your supervisors, guides, to make sure it is significant, important, and the work is uh, publishable, because that is very important. That is one of the authentication of your research work carried out. If it is not publishable, then whatever efforts in solving that problem and writing the results will be wasted and it will go in vain. So the problem should be solvable in the given time frame. This you should be uh, noting. Then this is especially important for new students. Gradually, students are expected to improve in assessing the quality and feasibility of that particular problem. Some papers from the literature survey may require a closer look at that stage to fine-tune the problem statement. And the main tools to carry out the literature survey are search engines like we discussed, Google Scholar, IEEE Explorer, or scientific databases elsewhere, Springers. So these are very important. And the next uh, point is logistic issues. So during identify the resources that will be needed and that are at your disposal for solving the problem as soon as possible. So what are those issues? So for example, computing services. It includes computational servers, software licenses, components, instruments, or experimentation facility. These are necessary while carrying out your uh, or conducting your research or conducting the experiments for validation of your solution. For example, solar panels or certain integrated circuits, human volunteers for behavioral experiments, or even the funds available for that conduct for carrying out that proposed project is also very important. And these are all logistic issues. Most of the times we have seen that in the private institutes, either software licenses are not there or some facilities are not available for experimentation, or the high-end computing facilities are also not there to run the high-end simulations. So these are all logistic issues. Special items may take longer to procure, and this is very difficult for the researchers. So one has to keep in mind these issues also and uh, work on that particular research problems. Now, the last one is with different risk assessment. So working in new area in because working in new area working in new area seems a bit risky because we don't know what kind of results we are going to get, and but at the same time it is also rewarding. If the area is immature or new, there may be an opportunity to pluck some of the low-lying fruits. That is, it is better to try and perhaps fail than not to try at all. So if in first attempt, solve the simplest versions of that particular problem, and then gradually work on your way towards the final goal. And during this process, you can uh, publish your work to small conference, articles, journals, and problems that are too risky should be avoided. That is also important. So if you think that it is very risky, no further outcomes are going to come. So it is better to avoid such risky problems. It is important to make steady progress. One cannot do the research in overnight. So you should be always making steady progress. And if that is not happening, you should seek help from the research community, your guide, advisor, or you can talk to your friends or the seniors or PhD students so that you can continue your uh, uh, continue your work in that area and do not lose the motivation. So these are some of the points of finding out the research problem. Here we discussed about logistic issues, risk management, then strategies for finding out the good research problem and what are the tools, websites we have seen. These are the references of this first chapter. Thank you. So next chapter, in the next chapter, we will discuss about literature in detail literature review, and before that literature review, we'll discuss about plagiarism. Then, what do you mean by plagiarism? Research ethics, and what are the points related to research ethics? What is mean by plagiarism? What are the ethics, and what are the good practices a researcher has to carry out? These all points we will discuss in the next session. So this first uh, chapter is ended. Thank you.